1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now.
Jermaine event, yo.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Jermaine Events. How you guys doing? It's Babylon 5 Podcast, episode 90. We calling this bad boy Upgradeable. That's what we're calling. That's what I'm calling this bad boy. Welcome. Hope you guys had a great week. And I hope this week, where you're listening to this podcast, whenever you're listening to this podcast, is fantastic. I hope it's fantastic. I hope it's getting better and better every day. 8 days a week, my nigga. That's what I hope for you all. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys social medias. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You could email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You niggas can follow this podcast at, I'm on one today. Niggas can follow this podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. And if you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is SauceToBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add a brother at twitch.tv/Babylon5. I did not get the Discord in here. It just hit me. I could look it up right now, but I don't feel like it. Matter of fact, I feel like it. I'm like, that was the laziest thing I've ever said. Because, like, nigga, it takes like 2 seconds. You're on your phone. I'm looking at my phone right now, reading notes and shit. So, actually, I don't know how to work this out. I, like, click it, and then it, like, just, like, exited out of the fucking app when I tried to click into this profile. I think it just is on Discord. I think it's just Babylon 5 Pod. If you're trying to join my server, it's just Babylon 5 Pod on Discord. I think I'm the only member. Because it said one member online. I was like, who the one member? It got to be me. It's got to be me. Unless you niggas want to join my Discord, go ahead and join my Discord at Babylon 5 Pod. I just closed out of my notes. That's cool. At least I told you niggas. At least I told you niggas about it. Join my Discord. Join my Discord. And while you're at it, go to teespring.com/store/Babylon, or let me say that whole thing over again because I always mess that up. And you niggas want t-shirts, go get t-shirts, go get t-shirts, go get masks, go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop, where you can get all your Babylon 5 podcast gear. All the current stuff. I told you guys that unfortunately the Boars line was removed. They removed the Boars line. They were the black hoodies, black mask with the pink lettering. It just said Boars, simply. They took it down. They removed my store. So I'm the only nigga that got some Boars gear. I got a Boars mask here. I got a Boars mask. I forgot about my Boars mask. But I got a Boars mask. I got a Boars hoodie, and that's it. That's the only gear that's around. Unless, none of you niggas bought the Boars gear. I was trying to tell you niggas, this Boars gear is hot. I was mad when, because I was about to get some more, just to, like, do some shit with. And, maybe, take some pictures with that shit. Because I was fucking with these Boars hoodies and the whole Boars line, nigga. I was fucking with the whole Boars line. And then I went on the website. I'm trying to, I'm clicking on it, yo, what's going on? I can't find it. It'd be like error. error. And then finally, like, after I was searching for the store, because it would suggest certain items that were still in the store from the Boars line. And I would like click those items, but it would just be like the mask. And I was trying to find the hoodie. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally, after like trying to dig through it, it was like a message popped up and said, store has been removed. I was like, what the fuck? There's no notice that this was happening. It was just one day I go on there, I can't find the site, can't figure out what's going on. And then they're just like, yo, your shit's been removed. I'm glad I never fucking upgraded. I was lazy about it because I made that line and then I was like, I love fucks with this line. And I was like trying to figure out this app where I could take this image of a wolf and get the outline and make it into like a cartoon. I was trying to like learn pretty much graphic design in a way just to make some more designs for this Boars line. I was fucking with it, but they took it down, my niggas. They took it down. So I should just put that effort into some more Babble gear. But yeah, I will. I will soon. There will be more Babble gear soon, but go cop some Babble gear now while you're here. And while you're at that, since you understand the struggle, go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. And, be my patrons. Don't just be my Negroes, be my patrons. Be my patrons. And once again, go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. You'll get this episode as soon as I'm done. It's right there. Right for you on Patreon. You get it early. You get whatever I choose to post on there, like music-wise, just random shit I'm working on. Go be my patrons. Shout out to my patrons. Shout out to you. And lastly, if you guys are on TikTok, go ahead and follow a brother at Babylon5 Podcast. I thought it was creepy that, like with anything, I hadn't been on TikTok. Like I just hadn't opened up the app in a while. And then all of a sudden, I started to see emails from TikTok that I'd never gotten before, just telling me everybody that I had followed, whenever, yo, these people are posting, bro. You might want to click that app. They're posting, bro. I was like, that's fucking weird. That's just fucking weird. But I was like, shit, dude. It was like, dude, I don't want to open this app now. That's the kind of nigga that I am. Now you're sending me these apps. With Duolingo, nigga, I've made attempts at learning Italian. I've made a pretty strong attempt, a decent attempt with Dutch. And right now, nigga, I'm going hard at Spanish. I'm going hard. And if this nigga try to pass me up on Duolingo, this is what I'm gonna say to you niggas real quick. Cause you know what I was saying, I got this new job and it's like 95% Mexicans and they're all Mexican. That sounded weird to me. I didn't want it to come off that way. But then only 5% of them speak English. But at the same time, you know what just hit me? The assignments that we give them is all in English. I was just like, wait, hold on a second. I just thought about that. But I was like, fuck it. I'm about to just kill this Spanish real quick. I'm about to just learn this shit. And then I noticed today, out of all the people fucking doing fucking Spanish, I just set a personal goal. I was like, I'm gonna max out these topics because there's I would surmise there's about they got lessons. Maybe there will be about 10 lessons within each little section, and there'll be 4 sections on each tier. So tier 1, you get the 4 You get about 40 little lessons or questions and say this, yada, yada. And you got to do all that correctly before you move on to the next tier of like 40 questions or whatever. So I'm like maxing out all this shit, just not even really looking at the leaderboards of this Spanish. And I see that like I'm in like third place. And I remember looking at the person that was in first and I was like, oh, that's insurmountable. That's an insurmountable lead. But like, it's an hour left before this ends, less than an hour left. It's probably going to end in like 20 minutes now, actually. It says an hour, but it said an hour like 40 minutes ago. Or maybe an hour ago, it said an hour. So what I'm saying is that at this point, I set that goal just to max out those certain things. And actually, I was lazy yesterday and didn't max out one. And she's only about, like, when I look at it now, for like 400 more points than me. Had I been on top of it, I'd be right there at first place. Shit. Had I done this every week like I told myself, pretty sure I'll be the first place of motherfuckers learning Spanish on Duolingo. I will be first place, so that's interesting to me. Damn, this fucking... I said it last week. I was like, oh, maybe I just need to use my plugins. Maybe I don't need to buy a new computer. Because maybe I just need to know how to use my goddamn plugins. I spent hundreds. I spent like a stack, I'd say, on these plugins together. Maybe a little more. I don't know. It's at the same time, I don't see it as a brag spending on it. So like, maybe it was more than 1,000, but I see it as shameful in the end that I was lured by these fucking plugins and bought them. So maybe it was more than 1,000, maybe it wasn't. I don't see it as a brag. I see it as I was gullible in buying those things. But this one that I'm using now, it seems to help with taking out background noise. But at the same time, I mean, I'm going to continue to use it, but at the same time, I bought a new computer. I don't have it yet, unfortunately. I don't have it yet. But it's like, I was about to buy a replacement computer, like an iMac or some shit like that. And then I was like looking up shit, like right before I was going to like make the purchase, I was like, let me just look up some shit. And it was like my laptop that I use now to run these programs that I'm fucking like, yo, man, this shit's like overheating. It sounds like it's steaming, sounds like a fucking engine. Like, it's so fucking loud. I'm sure some of you should have heard that. Like, and mainly, especially in recent episodes, it gets pretty loud toward the end. The more I go, the more I record, it just starts to get... To me, it's like unbearable. And I apologize if you guys, you know, if you've dealt with it, hated it, and you stuck through it with me, I fucking love you for it, you know? Thank you. And I'm gonna address it. Hopefully this is the last recording with this MacBook. But I was looking at it and it was like the worst the worst thing to try to like use those programs with is this MacBook this MacBook Pro that I'm using to record this right now, to do all this shit. I remember back when I was first started working on the Grump, and I would just like record things, like little versions of shit, little demos in my bedroom, and I remember thinking I didn't know at the time what it was, but I remember thinking to myself, like, what is this fucking loud ass like fan? And I remember I would walk around the house. I was living in like Bayview at the time, and I'd like walk around the house, And I'd be like, yo, nothing's on. Nobody else is here. I didn't even know that it was like, I remember I bought this fucking Blue Baby bottle. I thought maybe using this mic that I'm using now was an issue. It's pretty crispy sound, but, and then that Blue Baby bottle ended up being a piece of shit, but I digress. So, I didn't just even realize that it was just like the strain that I'm putting on this laptop by running these programs. Like, at the frequency that I run these programs, and at the amount of RAM and the capabilities that these MacBooks can do, I'm just like, on a daily basis, just like, apparently running this thing to the fucking core. For years. For years. Damn, now that I think about it, I know hella motherfuckers like that who are running this shit, running studios with fucking MacBooks. And I remember them, like, often, especially with Moses, we were like Madison, his shit would just like shut down. It would like overheat. And he'd be like, what? This never happened. Maybe in the middle of a session and it should just shut down and just fucking die on him. And it's like, well, these machines aren't equipped for that kind of thing. Maybe they're like equipped for like, if you're going to be a DJ and running your Seratos on the weekends, but then to run these big recording sessions, the amount of RAM you're putting, you know, everything you're using is... I know with this thing, like, when I try to use fucking Melodyne, because when I bought Studio One 4, it comes with Melodyne, and I can't use it. It makes my fucking laptop act weird. It, like, freezes up. I have, like, all these isotope plugins, but I learned not to use those isotope plugins, or this shit will fucking freeze and basically start to fucking scream and sound like the fucking little engine that could. So I'm like, yep, don't use any of these spend hundreds of dollars on these isotope plugins that I can't use. I can use like one. I can use one isotope plugin, and then if I try to use another isotope plugin on the same song, my shit will go crazy. And that's because of this laptop. It's just not built for that kind of shit. And then I remember, so I was going to get the iMac shit, that like big screen shit. And I think it's iMac Pro or something, or whatever the shit's called. I was going to get iMac. And like, that's what I was going to get. And then the shit that I was looking at was like, this is the worst thing, clearly. And then it was like, that's the second worst. Like, I was like, what the fuck? It was like basically no difference in the operating, unless you got a specific one that was like, that had like a 27-inch screen, because that one is upgradable while the other ones aren't. So you had to get this like very specific one that like basically isn't available anywhere. It's like the only Mac of that kind where you can upgrade the RAM after purchase. With this laptop, I can't, like if my issues are the RAM, if it was a Windows computer, I could just buy some RAM offline and install it myself. But like with these fucking Macs, you can't. It's not upgradable after purchase. And I thought I had everything I needed with this MacBook, but I definitely do not. So hopefully this is the last recording with this MacBook. But shit, I'm gonna jinx myself again and say, damn, it sounds really good right now. I'll be damned if it doesn't sound really good right now. It's got rid of all the background noise, I would say. I hear like maybe a slight hum. Well, before I started recording, I was like, shit, that's getting loud. You guys have to understand, this thing gets so loud when I'm trying to record that I usually keep it shut off. And I make sure everything else is set up ready to go for me before I start recording. Before I turn the laptop on. Because I know it's just like a short amount of time before this thing starts going crazy. I figured, like, I'm not going to put on the fucking applauses and gunshots this week because I feel like that's just attributing to the fan going crazy. You know, it's just overactive fucking app. It's recording, and then I got that shit going. I'm hitting crowd noises and shit, and it's just, it can't handle it. It can't handle it. All right? I can't fucking handle it. So the new computer, from what I was seeing, like the Mac Mini, I didn't even know this thing was a computer. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, if I've ever seen someone with this thing, the Mac Mini. But the one I'm getting is pretty fucking powerful. Pretty fucking powerful. So, I'm excited. We'll see. Hopefully, it's refurbished. I'm gonna be real with you niggas. So hopefully, I can get it. Hopefully it works and I have everything set up for new everything. Because it's like I can't do shit. This shit fucking freaks me out with how hot it like overheats. Makes all them loud ass noises. I mean, I guess if it works to the point that I could record this podcast and you don't hear the fan as long as I use this app. But as I'm saying, the more plugins that I'm using makes this shit gets loud and hot as fuck quick. So it's just not, I don't see it as too viable of an option going forward. Just, there was no other option but upgrading. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. Last night, the wife and we went to the Don't Tell comedy show. Fuck, I should have asked my wife. I think she knew some of the names or maybe of the comedians. It's the Don't Tell comedy show. Maybe you guys have heard of like So Far Sounds where you can get selected. You have to like get on with them, you get on like a mailing list and like you sign up for a date and say, yes, I'm available. I want to go to this fucking show on this date. And then if you're selected to be in the audience, if you're one of the chosen ones to be in the audience for So Far Sounds, then on the day they will send you the location and you get to see an artist, a secret artist in an intimate location. I want to do that shit so bad, my nigga. Like I want to be in the audience, but I want to perform one, you know? I want to do that shit so bad. I'm sounding like I'm hating, but I want to do that shit so bad. That shit would be so cool. I heard niggas hating on it like, they take all the money and like the artists make nothing. And it's like, well, probably. I would imagine that's how it goes. I would imagine it because it's like they'll have intimate concerts with like upcoming local artists in that area. Like it's multiple cities that they do this shit in, not just Milwaukee. And they're like, somebody was like, oh, they just take all the money and the artists don't get really anything at all. And I'm like, of course they don't. Have you not been doing this forever? Have you talk about any fucking industry that you guys have fucking started to work with and you were like, that's cool. How did it end? They're taking all the money and the artist isn't making anything. That's how it always goes. I could imagine that's how it's going. I could imagine. But last night we went to the Don't Tell comedy show here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I guess they do it in multiple cities all over. I'm on their Twitter right now. I'm trying to figure out some of the names of the guys. It was a young lady that performed. It was pretty good set. Is this the guy? I can't tell. Fuck, dude. Nah, that's not the guy. I don't think that's the guy. The guy was wearing like a white jean jacket. I don't know if he's from Milwaukee, from the area. I don't know. He's a pretty funny dude. Damn, I don't know. I can't find him. Can't find these niggas, but so it's the Don't Tell comedy show. I'm babbling, but that's the whole thing. Don't Tell comedy show. I don't know these niggas' names that perform, but it was a good show. Except for, if their joke didn't go over well, they'd be like, oh, man, you guys are they were like, you guys are stuck up or something. And they'd be like, you guys are conservative. Wow. Guess I can't make these kind of jokes here. It's like, oh, these jokes usually kill. I guess I can't say this here. It's going to say this joke, but you guys are really pulling back. And it's like, nigga, maybe your joke ain't that funny, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'ma laugh at a funny joke, bro. There ain't no line, bro. If it's a funny joke, nigga, I'ma laugh. All these niggas, if a joke didn't go over for them, they'd be like, oh, shit, you guys are conservative. Come on, Wisconsin. They'd be like, come on, Wisconsin. You guys are conservative. I'm like, nigga, please. Negro, please. Negro, please. They was all white people. It was me and two other black people there. Everybody else was white except for a couple Hispanic people. Latinx people right in front of us. And everybody else was white. At one point, one of the comedians asked, has anyone here ever done heroin? And the black lady to my left raises her hand gleefully, says yes, she had done heroin. That was one of the highlights of the night, as you guys could imagine. But there was about, about 4 comedians. I think the first 3, first guy had maybe 10 minutes. The next guy had about 10 minutes. The girl had about 10 minutes. And then the guy, I felt went on for an hour. I felt like the headliner, who I forget his name, man, but he was pretty good. But he went on for an hour. But you buy the tickets, and then on noon of the day of the show, they hit you up and say, this is the location, starts at this time, yada, yada, yada. The way it's advertised on their website, I would imagine that these shows in other cities are BYOB. But my wife was saying she's under the impression that that's not necessarily allowed. It's not necessarily legal in the state of Wisconsin. So, or at least in Milwaukee. And these things are stated to be held in Walker's Point, at a secret location in Walker's Point. We were at Arts at Large last night. I've never been there, but it's just an organization that helps artists of all ages in the city. I'd never heard of this place. Looks pretty cool when I was there, and it's a pretty cool event. Shout out to them for putting on the event, Arts at Large. But they hit you up with the location. I'm definitely going to hit up the next one. It was nice to be out and to a show. I haven't been to a show, in so long with everything that's going on. And it was, to me, it felt like all the comedians hadn't really performed in front of a big crowd or anything. It wasn't even that big of a crowd. It might have been maybe 20 people, 20, 30 people in there. I feel like I'm being generous by saying 30. And So, like, when their jokes weren't landing and they were like, oh, y'all are conservative. I was like, nigga, you probably ain't did this shit in front of nobody. And it didn't work, nigga. They would say shit like, oh, man, this usually kills. In front of who, my nigga? In front of who? You ain't been performing. I know I've been seeing niggas doing open mics around Milwaukee lately, but I doubt, like, nigga, I've done stand-up in the Milwaukee scene. And it's my issue is that it's the same room of 20 people, no matter where you are. So when you say to me, man, this joke usually kills, and you blame the audience, my nigga, who? In front of your group of 20 friends, when you do this same joke every week, it usually kills. Your friends laugh at this same... That's what's so dumb to me about the scene with these local comedians. And they get booked off of just consistently being at fucking open mics, doing the same jokes over and over again. And it's like, my jokes killed the first time. I don't need to work on them. All right? I don't need to work on them. Maybe you guys are nervous up there. I'm having a good time on stage. I've always been, if I was in a group, I was the guy that spoke, in school. When we had a presentation, I'm the speaker. Speech class loved it. I'm a thespian, my nigga. I did plays and shit. All right? I've always been that guy. And I'm comfortable on that stage. You niggas need to do the same jokes over and over again and perfect them. While a real nigga like me is comfortable on that stage. So if your jokes don't work, don't come at us talking about, this joke usually kills. I know I'm talking shit, but I'm telling you, it was a real good show. I was happy to be there. Like, let's say if I had the ability to go back in time and know how good the show is going to be, like, no matter what, it's going to be those comedians. I'm going to have that experience. I would go back to the Don't Tell comedy show. I was just irked at the consistent, like the bombing and the jokes and then going, you guys are conservative. Like, nah, you just made a terrible decision at telling certain jokes. But I would recommend, just look up Don't Tell Comedy Show. I was like, should I talk about this? I don't know. And then at the end of the show, they were like, please tell your friends about the Don't Tell Comedy Show. I'm like, all right, I'll talk about it on the podcast, my niggas. All right, my niggas. I didn't want to like, talk to them and be like, hey, I'm going to be like, I don't want to say that I'm going to talk, I got a podcast, I'm going to talk about you niggas. I don't want to say that. I mean, I'm going to post this, I'm going to tag them probably, most likely. But I didn't want to be like, hey, I'm going to talk about you niggas. Because I was like already perturbed by these niggas saying that shit. Like, this shit usually kills. Like, to who, my nigga? You ain't did this shit before. I mean, I'm not saying you ain't never did comedy. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm saying, like, even if you, like, over a year ago used to do that joke in front of crowds and they laughed, it seems like everybody was, like, getting jitters out of just being in front of bigger crowds, new audiences. So, like, maybe if that joke used to work, you just didn't do it. You were fucking getting the jitters out. You're not on your A game. And that's fine. You're a fucking crowd of nobodies. I ain't had a good time regardless, but just, like, just chill out on the, you guys should be fucking in stitches type shit. They didn't say that, but that's what you niggas are implying. Like, how dare you guys not be on the ground laughing right now? How fucking dare you? That's some grade A material right there. That's how I felt. But yeah, check out the Don't Tell Comedy Show. I'm certain that, like, So the next show is going to be a different set of comedians, different like 4 or however many comedians. So check it out. This one was pretty good. My Mr. Nice Guy interview with Ben Slowey is out. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys can find it on Facebook, YouTube. Search like Mr. Nice Guy on Facebook or YouTube, Ben Slowey. You guys can go to it's the link for whatever reason is youtubebeev/CUEIBPPHCZL. I want to say L. Now I'm sitting here like, damn, is that an L? I don't know. That's how we find out. How we find out, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, actually, it's an I. It's not an L. So go to youtu.be/CUEIBPPHCZI. And you will find Jermaine Event's interview with Mr. Nice Guy. I wasn't stoned, unfortunately. You know, a name like Mr. Nice Guy tells me we need to get lifted. Fly me to the moon like that bitch Alan Scramson. Because it's hard being black and gifted. Sometimes I just want to throw it all down and get lifted. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to Samson. Or maybe I don't. I mean, if I have Mr. Nice Guy, then at that point I don't need Samson. Because Mr. Nice Guy had better weed. So, you know, I hadn't seen Half Baked in a little while. When I saw it when I was like 18, maybe 20, I was like, damn, this shit's terrible. Maybe I'd like it now. I don't know. Maybe I'd like it now in my 30s. In my goddamn 30s, maybe I'd like it now. I don't know. But niggas, go check out that interview. Me, Mr. Nice Guy, Ben Slowey. I watched it. I felt like it was a pretty good interview. I felt like I should have said a lot more. I felt like I was babbling, talking about things that I didn't need to talk about. But I felt like it was a pretty cool interview. Ben's cool. Yeah, check out that interview that I did with Ben Slowey. It's pretty cool. Pretty good, I would say. So my niggas, season 2 of The Circle just ended. And you know, I was like, I probably usually wouldn't be in it, but I'm fucking married, all right? I'm fucking married. And I watched The Circle, so why don't you fucking get off my sack, all right? I'm married. Season 2 of The Circle just ended. And I fucking find this show interesting. Even though I'm like, fuck, dude. I don't think anything is going on here. Like, at one point, I guess I was under the impression that, like, well, I honestly wasn't aware of how long the contestants are in these apartments, in these studio apartments, or it's like a 1-bedroom apartment they get. They live in this circle. And at the end of the show, it was like, oh, it's days. It was like they've been there for like 10 days. It's basically what they were saying. So they're only on the show for like, what, 10, 11 days. And I'm sitting here like, fuck, dude. Like, this is so weird that, like I thought it was weird before, just when I thought, because I assumed they were there for longer than like 10 days. And when people are like, see, yeah, that shit's getting loud now. And when people are like, they're so attached to players that have been eliminated. Like in the first elimination, second elimination, they're like, oh, that person, you betrayed this person, so now I gotta blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I would be like, dude, why are you still attached to this person? I'm watching this shit episode to episode, and I'm like, dude, that person's gone last episode. Why are you still, like, hooked on this person? And then I come to find out that it was, like, a day-to-day thing almost. Where it was like you guys got to know each other one day. And then the next day you guys had an elimination. And then it was like, oh, you betrayed this person on day one. You didn't know anybody. You don't know anybody. You don't know each other at all. I just didn't understand this whole, like, people were like, I'm falling in love with this person and yada, yada, yada. I don't understand the whole reason why they're trying to catch catfish and eliminate the catfish when the whole thing is a popularity contest. Spoiler alert for it all. The character, the woman, I think her name's like Delisa. Might have been Delisa or something Lisa. When she was portraying her husband, Trevor, she wins the contest. Everybody loved that person, Trevor. And then even in the finale, the people still liked her as a person. And they didn't mind her winning. Because the story of her having, like, a daughter and, like, you know, she's married to the person she's portraying. Like, that whole story was real. Other than, like, if she was just portraying a different person, her husband. But, like, I don't understand why there's in this show so much emphasis, like, on, yo, I think this person's a catfish, and then they'll have, like, secret group chats with people like, yo, I think this person's a catfish. We need to get rid of this person because I don't think they're real. And I'm just like, dude, why? Like, why is that an aspect of the show? Why do you focus on, I don't think this person is real, so they can't win the money? This is about fucking, like, you can only communicate through fucking text in these fucking profiles in this social media that they make for the show called The Circle. And that's the only way they can communicate with each other. And these motherfuckers are focused on, oh shit, I'm pretty sure this person's a catfish, so we got to get them out of here. And then they eliminate somebody and it's like, oh shit, they're the real person. I feel so bad because they're the real person. And it's like, what does it matter, dude? Like, isn't this simply just making a profile that people can find interesting? Even the people who are actually the person in the picture doesn't necessarily have to be the person who they're portraying in the profile. Like, you got the dude, Mitchell, who's, like, posting a picture of him completely naked. He's just completely swole, always naked in the show. But also claiming to be a virgin and all this shit, just saving himself. Like, it was just like he threw all that shit in there for for your personal reasons. But it's like, dude, nobody believes that. The way he's just, like, flirting super hard. Like, flirting super hard with all these females. These and, like, it's just like any girl that was, like, on the show, he's going at them hard. And at the same time claiming to be a virgin, saving himself for marriage. So, like, I don't understand the point of, like, oh, this person isn't the person in the pictures, so we need to get them off of the show. Because the person in the pictures is usually fake as fuck anyway. But even with that, dude, because it's like, when you do the finale, right, by the time you know and you pick, the people in the finale decide, they do a final vote, and they do a final rating, and that decides who wins the $100,000 prize. And then they all meet, all right? So your popularity contest is over. And then you meet and you find out, like, oh shit, everybody was a catfish. And there's, like, no extra anything. It's just like, just sit in this house for 10 days, try not to say the wrong thing, and get eliminated. And maybe at the end of it all, you'll just walk out of here 10 days later with $100,000 just based off of this rating system. I think it's pretty like, all right, now it's over. I feel like there should be just like a little more that goes on in order to like earn the $100,000. Or it should be like a longer grind. It shouldn't be so quick. It should be stressful on the people there to have to be there that long. Like, it should be a long, like, maybe, like, 2 months or some shit like that, where they just have to be by themselves in this apartment, communicating through this shit, fucking with their heads, getting, like, really attached to these profiles. If you can survive that long. I'd be so emotionally invested as a person fucking watching. If these people were in the house for that long, and then, like, maybe later in the season, like, one of the characters you loved, like, fucking just got cut and was there for, like, maybe it was, like, they're almost at the end of 2 months, and then they get cut, and they're almost this close to a chance at $100,000. Like, I'd be way more invested. But seeing that it's just like, oh, they're there for 10 days, and you just gotta basically just not say the wrong thing. Like, you had the character Tara Alicia, who for no reason just pretty much started, like, going at the girl Savannah, and that created a whole division between everybody on the show, and they were then both eliminated after that, one after another. And it was like, dude, just, like, fucking, just try to be neutral or some shit is what it seems like. But I don't understand, also, in that show, why they bring in characters late. They'll bring in characters like a day or two before the final. And it's like, it's not fair. It's not fair to bring that person in a day or two before the final vote of who goes home. After everybody's been there for what I thought was some time, but actually is only like, everybody was here for like 6 to 7 days already before you got here. But at that point, they've already bonded, had conversations. And now you're just putting this person here for the sake of, like, drama. But that person automatically has no chance at winning because everybody already has their alliances. They have people that they know will save them if those people become, like, influencers. And they don't know shit about you at all. So, like, it just doesn't make sense. They need to start with everyone. Whoever's going to be on that season, throw them in that season at the beginning. And, like, let it all work out from there. That's what I'm saying, like, it doesn't have to be a 10-day stay. It could be a fucking 60-day stay with a fuck ton more of contestants. Not like a fuck ton, but just more contestants. And then you could, at that point, people could really click up. They could really work some strategies. There could really be some shit going on if you're there that long, but I feel like there should be certain things, like maybe the challenges count for something toward the finale. If you make it that far, like the shit you do tallies into something that factors into who gets the fucking prize. I just think it's cheap that, like, all right, we rated everybody at the end. We've been rating everybody throughout this whole thing, and that's just it. We did the last rating. Now you're going to learn who's behind the profiles. And I don't know. I feel like it's just real quick. It's too quick. But I can't wait for season 3. Can't wait, my nigga. I wasn't a fan of Chloe. Didn't want her to win at all. She almost won. And I was happy Delisa won. Who was pretending to be, I think it's Delisa, who's pretending to be Trevor. But Delisa did tell Chloe that there was room for 3 in her marriage. She threw out the offer of a threesome with herself, her husband Trevor, and Chloe. Just wanted to throw that out there. Because I called her, I was like, what? My wife didn't even hear. I was like, you heard what you said? She said there's room for 3. She said it's always room for 3 in our marriage. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you fell in love with Trevor. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, there's no Trevor. She was like, I'm sorry that Trevor is real, but he's my husband. And she was like, oh, damn it. And then Delisa was like, but there's always room for 3 in our marriage. And Chloe was like, oh. And like, that was it. That was just like it for that conversation. Just like, oh. I don't think she took her up on the offer. But shout out to her. I think she's black. Shout out to the black lady, Delisa, for winning. Maybe she's black. Is Delisa a black name? I think so. Maybe. Shout out to that possible Afro-Latina sister, Delisa, for winning the circle, getting that 100 G's for her family. Shout out to her. You can get that house they was talking about. It's a good show. It's entertaining to watch. But just finding out that they're only there for 10 days, you niggas is dramatic. Chill out. Niggas is making these fucking fake-ass bonds. You been there for 2 days, my nigga. You been in that house for 2 days. Relax. Unfortunately, Nick Diaz had to pull out of the fight with Leon Edwards due to an undisclosed injury. They're supposed to fight this upcoming weekend at UFC 262. But, in a 5-round co-main event. And unfortunately, it's been pushed back. So we will not get that fight. That was the most anticipated fight for me outside of the fight for the vacant lightweight strap up for grabs. But yeah, hopefully Diaz can make it to May 15th. Because I think that's going to be a really good fight with Leon Edwards when that happens. Yo, it was wild, right? So I was at work the other day, and I look at my phone. Briefly look at my phone, and I see like Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul are having a press conference, and I was like, all right, like I don't need to watch that. Go back to work. Maybe a couple hours later, I look at my phone, and like the top notification on my phone is like a video from YouTube where it says brawl. Floyd Mayweather, I think it was like the Weasel. It said brawl. Floyd Mayweather's crew like gets into fight with Logan Paul. With Jake Paul. I was like, what? With Jake Paul? And I'm just sitting here like, dude, how the fuck has boxing come? How the fuck has combat sports in general come to this with this dude, Jake Paul? I was just like, what the fuck, man, as I'm looking at this article. But then I watched the video. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched that video and I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with what I saw. Jake Paul walks up to Floyd Money Mayweather, greatest boxer of all time. And he's just like, in his face, like, how about you fight us? And Floyd is like, dude, I'll fight you both in the same night. Like, sign the contract. And then that's what I said. I said that, remember, I was like, yo, I bet Floyd would have fight you both in the same night, beat both of y'all up in one night. And he's saying it right now, like, I'll fight you both in one night, back to back. And fucking Jake Paul is in his face like, oh yeah. And then he grabs his hat and says, got your hat, and tries to like run off. And Floyd and his crew grab Jake. Looked like Floyd got a good punch in. And then at one point, it just like, I don't know, it was bad camera angles. Looked like Floyd's whole crew was just stomping Jake out. And I was all for that. And then like Logan Paul at one point jumps in and starts to like fight people off of his brother who's on the ground getting stomped. And then it's just Floyd like being held back by all these people as he's still trying to get at Jake Paul. And Jake Paul is like up against the wall, like cowering, trying to cover up his face. And he's got like, later on they show him, he's got like a black eye. He's all marked up. But right away, he's fucking covering up his face, cowering. he was like saying something to Logan, like covering his face, like trying to hide in a corner, all these people surrounding him. And then like somebody opened the door and he like ran through this door, like ran out of there. You know what I'm saying? He went up to the greatest boxer of all time, surrounded by a team of motherfuckers that are ready to go at any point for Floyd. And he did that shit and he got his ass beat. And I'm okay with that. He's now apparently banned, they're saying, from the fight. I don't know how true that is. Because for me, with everything that if it's like this Jake Paul shit, I feel like he tries to generate news as much as possible. So, like, I feel like he could just put it out there, Jake Paul is banned, just because it'll make him sound like, oh, he did all this shit and got himself banned from the fight with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. But you just got beat up. That's what happened. And you ran after trying to get into a fight with Floyd Mayweather. And you felt them punches hurt. And then you ran. So I'm okay with that. Niggas was trying to talk shit. I seen Conor was trying to say that, like, it was a sideshow for him for Floyd to be boxing Logan Paul, and honestly, there's no difference in Floyd boxing Logan Paul and Floyd boxing Conor McGregor. Absolutely no difference. No difference at all. So that's what I gotta say about that. Fucking UFC Vegas 26 had some real good fights. I didn't watch it live. I watched most of the fights back. I couldn't figure out ESPN Plus and how to like watch the prelims. So I could only watch like the main card maybe the prelims isn't available. Maybe I got to get like UFC Fight Pass to get the prelims. But I couldn't find the prelims. So I wanted to watch the Ludovic-Klein fight, which I saw that he lost. But I wanted to watch that fight. But I wasn't able, so I was only able to watch like some main card fights. As I said, we went to that comedy show last night. I wanted to see Angela Hill versus Amanda Ribas, but unfortunately, the day of yesterday, Amanda Ribas tested positive for COVID. So that fight has been canceled, and they're hoping to reschedule soon. But yeah, the day of, Ribas test positive and was pulled from the fight. You had Gregor Gillespie versus Diego Ferreira, and I had Diego Ferreira as someone who was going to have a great 2021. He drops a fight here. He dropped a fight to Beneil Dariush. Now he drops a fight here to Gregor Gillespie in his comeback fight. I mean, I don't want to say he was stopped, if I remember, in the second round. Like, Gregor just, like, wrestled him, tired him out. But in the first round, dude, it was just nonstop scrambles. And Diego was really hurting Gregor Gillespie on the feet. I thought, with his striking, I thought he was going to knock Gillespie out. Gillespie was knocked out by Kevin Lee in his last fight. And Ferreira was landing clean, heavy punches early in the fight. And then Gregor started to wrestle and tire him out. And then Gregor was so tired at the end of the first round, he was like stumbling to walk back to the corner. And the doctors had to come in and check in on him because of this, because he was having trouble walking back. But they allowed him to go in there and fight, and he kept wrestling, kept grinding out, and just completely tired out Diego Ferreira, took the top mount, and then, like, got his back and just rained down punches and elbows until he got the stop. It was a great fucking fight. Great. There's scrambles all through that first round. It was a great fight. Great fight. So Ferreira is on a 2-fight losing streak, but it's like the stats don't tell the story. Like, it's going to say he lost. It's going to say he's coming off 2 losses, but I say he's still a great fighter. I don't think, and he just got tired, man. That game plan to tire him out was so fantastic. Like, Gregor was saying, like, yeah, he was exhausted after the first round, but he said, like, because he was doing so much wrestling himself, they were doing so much grappling. I'm telling you, scramble after scramble after scramble in the first round. And he figured, like, if he was that tired, then his fucking opponent must be super exhausted as well. So at that point, that gave him the confidence to push forward and keep grappling, keep wrestling. And it worked. And he got the finish. So shout out to Gregor Gillespie and his comeback. Grinds out a win against Diego Ferreira. He's going to have to do something about his striking because Ferreira was able to land some heavy strikes early on. And we saw what happened when someone a little more powerful like Kevin Lee was able to land on him. He was able to land cleanly with those shots early. I thought he was going to knock Gregor out. But Gregor was able to grind out the win, so shout out to him. I did watch Michelle Watterson versus Marina Rodriguez. And they both, I thought it was just Michelle Watterson moving up in a weight class, but I guess they're both moving up in a weight class. I guess this was a short notice fight, and because of that, they decided to fight up a weight class. So they would both typically fight at 115, but but because it was a short notice fight, they're fighting 5 rounds at 125, which is cool. So I picked Rodriguez to win this fight. I was wrong in my predictions on every fight except this main event. But I honestly, watching this fight, dude, I thought Watterson looks fantastic. And I honestly scored it when it was going into the 5th round. I'm like, I have it 2 rounds apiece for Rodriguez and Watterson. And I thought Watterson won the 5th round. She wobbled Rodriguez with a body kick. Like, I felt like she was just like she was craftier and just doing a little more damage in the 5th round. I scored the 5th round for Watterson, but I was pretty drunk. I had to watch it again, to be honest with you. I had quite a few drinks throughout the night. I'm going to buy you a drink. I had quite a few drinks. Shout out to T-Pain's coming to Summerfest again for the 11th time. Nelly's coming to Summerfest for the 11th time. Ludacris coming to Summerfest for the 11th time. Yeah, all the same niggas coming to Summerfest for the 11th time. It's happening. But I scored the fight last night when I was drinking heavily for Watterson, but Watterson was winning me over. See, it's like, that's the thing, is like, I don't like a certain people's personality, but their fucking fighting styles would definitely win me over. Like, I don't necessarily think Rose Namajunas is a genuine person, but she's one of the greatest fighters I've ever seen. You can't take that away from her just because you don't like her, because I don't like her. So I don't think she's that good of a fighter. No, that's not how it works. All right? That's just not how it works. She's still great, regardless of my feelings. All right? Regardless of my soft-ass feelings. Sensitive-ass nigga. All right? She's still phenomenal. They're still phenomenal fighters. So shout out to Watterson. She lost. Yes, she lost, but I scored it for her. So she's winning me over on that. If any scorecards matter to me at all, it's mine. And I scored it for Watterson. It seemed like, I didn't look too into it at all, but it seemed like Angela Hill was calling out Marina Rodriguez, because at some point, Rodriguez had Watterson up against the cage and was just like teeing off on her. Landed like 6 strikes. And then I saw like a post from Angela Hill. Let's see. Maybe she deleted it. Oh, shit. No. I thought Angela Hill was talking shit. Oh, shit. Okay. Angela Hill wants a rematch. Easy to throw a 6-strike combo when there's no weight on anything and you miss everything but that last hit. Sorry, I'm bitter I didn't fight tonight. I think she's taking a shot at Marina Rodriguez, saying how, like, I think she beat Rodriguez. It says Angela Hill tried to fight Tisha Torres as a replacement, but Tisha Torres already turned it down. Hebos is saying that it's going to be rescheduled, so I think that was a shot at Marina Rodriguez. I think that's what that was, but I don't know. Next week we got UFC 262. In the main event, we got for the vacant lightweight championship, Charles Du Bronx Oliveira is taking on Michael Chandler. I don't know what his nickname is, if he has one. But, yeah, he's taking on Michael Chandler. Michael, here for a good time, not a long time, Chandler. Michael, I have a black son, Chandler. Taking on Charles Du Bronx Oliveira for the vacant lightweight championship. And you guys know I'm going with my boy Charles Du Bronx. But I am saying this here, it can go either way. It could go either way. Chandler could knock this nigga out in one round. Chandler could knock this nigga out in the second round. Chandler could fucking wrestle this nigga like we just saw with Gregor Gillespie, tire him out and then knock him out standing up or some shit, or take his back, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could wrestle him, tire him out. He's talking about how he quit against Paul Felder. He's got that quit in him. So I would imagine he's going to come with that pressure. He's going to try to just, like, wrestle him, tire him out, and make him quit in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be a great fight. I think this is the best fight they possibly could have put together for the belt, man. Honestly, I want to see this fight. 5 rounds, if it goes that far. But I'm going Charles Oliveira, man. He's got the length. He knows how to, like, fight at a distance. There's a lot of people who have that reach advantage and just have no idea how to utilize it. But Du Bronx does. He uses his kicks well. He'll give you that swift front kick so fast. I'm going Charles Du Bronx Oliveira to be the new lightweight champion after Khabib Nurmagomedov retires. Then in the new co-main event, as I said, Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards has been rescheduled. You got Tony Ferguson taking on Beneil Dariush. I'm going with Beneil Dariush in that one. I think Beneil Dariush is a pretty good fighter, and I think Tony Ferguson is a decent fighter that's extremely overrated, as I've said here many times. He's just crazy overrated, and I don't think he'll be able to get past Dariush. I think Dariush is going to beat that ass. Then you got Jack Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian, nigga. Shabazian just showed, like, a real lack of IQ in the grappling area, you know? So, like, I don't think Jack Hermanson is someone he should be fighting next. I feel like this fight's going to end very bad for Edmund Shabazian. I think he's going to be, after this fight, at one time, shining prospect, Edmund Shabazian. And then it's going to be like, oh shit, what is Edmund Tarverdyan, the nigga who trained Ronda Rousey? He's the nigga that's training Edmund Shabazian. It's gonna be like, what is this nigga doing over there? I don't know. But I doubt those holes are gonna be addressed so soon. You can't just fucking pick up that kind of grappling acumen that fast. You gotta be like some freak fucking athlete in order to do such a thing like that. So I don't see him improving the grappling at a point where he should feel comfortable with such a grappling fucking heavy fucking rest. Dude, Hermansson's great everywhere, but he's just very dangerous in his grappling, his submissions. I think this is a bad fight for Shabazian. It's going to end bad for Shabazian. So I'm definitely, as I'm saying, going with Jack Hermansson on that one. Another fight I'm very interested in is Andrea KGB Lee versus Antonina Shevchenko. Shevchenko looked to have leveled up in her last fight, honestly. She used to look like a one-trick pony in her fights, but like in her last fight, she looked pretty well-rounded. She looked like a Shevchenko, finally. So I feel like Andrea Lee is fucking really good, and this is going to be a really good test for Antonina Shevchenko. Because she looked, I don't know, it was weird. It was like all of a sudden she just leveled up, like multiple levels. It's like if they're Pokemon, and like let's say hypothetically like fucking Valentina was at like level 50, level 50. It always seemed like maybe Antonina was at like level 20. And then all of a sudden, fucking, she's at like level 35, 40. She's looking good in that last fight. I was like, damn, she looks like a Shevchenko. I don't think she could handle her sister Valentina if it ever came down to it, but I was like, damn, she looks really good in this fight. So I'm interested in that fight. Can't wait to see that. Shout out to Michael Che. He's got a new show called That Damn Michael Che. My wife's a big fan of Michael Che. And it's funny because I've taken her to some shows. I'm a big comedy guy. I like going to stand-up comedy shows, hence why we went to the Don't Tell comedy show. And when we got tickets to go see Aziz at a surprise show when he came into town a couple years back, and Michael Che was randomly there. And she was pretty hype on that. And then we went to go see Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart at Red Rocks. And Michael Che was the secret opener. So it's just like we've had these moments where it's just like randomly Michael Che just seems to be there. And then, so we're watching his new TV show, That Damn Michael Che, and it's pretty fucking hilarious. Y'all should check that show out if you haven't, That Damn Michael Che. But my wife, she told me like a while ago that like on his Instagram, he apparently like will post something. Maybe post one or two things, leave it there for like a day or so, and then just delete everything. And I was like, okay. I just knew that she said that. But when I'm watching the show, like as I live tweet usually when I'm watching like UFC, I'm just like tweeting about the show. I'm tweeting about like That Damn Che. And at one point, I'm pretty sure I see the Pine Sol lady. Like, you know, that's the Pablo Clean. I'm like, is that the Pine Sol lady I tweet out? And then like the next day, my wife was like, well, the day before she was talking about how like there was somebody hating on the show on Twitter or some shit like that. Like talking shit about the show. And he was posting like Snoop Dogg or some shit talking about how it was funny or whatnot. And yada, yada, yada. And then the next day, she was like, he posted a picture of people like support, like all these people in support of his show. And like in response to that lady who was tweeting about how bad it is. And she's like, yeah, he posted about that. And I was just like jokingly like, did he post me on there? And she was like, what? And she looked at it and she was like, holy shit, your post is the top post. I'm like, oh, what? She's She's like, yeah, it's the very first, it's the very one at the top. And it was just like, is that the Pine Sol? Like, so shout out to Michael Che for throwing me on his Instagram for that 10 hours or so that it was probably up there before he deleted it. My wife said she, like, saw it. Like, she saw it, and then she saw, like, well, then I was like, oh, am I on there? And she's like, holy shit, you're on there. Like, you're right at the top. And then she, like, screenshot it. And then she said, like, maybe, like, 10 minutes later, he had deleted it. So it was just like, we just saw it at the right time. You know, it was super random that, you know, he's like one of her favorite comedians. And then boom, throws her husband's tweet up there on his Instagram. So shout out to Michael Che, you know, for having a dope show. It's like a mix between, I would say, like, Chappelle's show and, I don't know, something else. I think my wife was saying, like, Atlanta. And there were some people from Atlanta. There was the nigga, Fish Guts. The old bum that was going to kill Paperboy in the woods in that episode. He's butt-ass naked on the train. It's a bunch of people on the train. Michael Che and his friend aren't wearing masks. And this nigga's on the train butt-ass naked trying to lecture them on wearing a mask. And they're like, bro, you're butt-ass naked. And everybody's like, don't worry about what he's doing. It's his choice. You need to wear a mask. And like, meanwhile, this nigga's dick is out and all that shit. So, sorry, feeling a little stuffy there. A little stuffy there. So yeah, this nigga's butt-ass naked if you, if you guys needed to see that show. But yeah, it's a good-ass show. That damn shit, Michael Che. It's pretty fucking funny. He's a funny-ass dude. He had a real good DMX joke. Rest in peace to DMX. He's talking about how we don't have mental health in the hood. And we don't have mental health in the hood. We just have, like, ain't nothing wrong with him. He just like snakes or some shit like that. Or he just like fireworks. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He just like that. And he was like, DMX been barking for 30 years. And everybody's just like, ain't nothing wrong with him. He just like dogs. It's like, we don't have mental health in the hood. We just ain't nothing wrong with him. Rest in peace to DMX. Shout out to Michael Chase for the dope show. This has been episode 90 of the Babylon 5 podcast. I am your host, Jermaine Event. Gonna get out of here. Hope you guys take care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now.